What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Spencer. Saw that there was a new archetype that came out. As you guys know on my channel, I typically don't do individual cards because I save those for like when the set comes out, but if there's a new archetype or a bunch of new cards for one specific archetype, I normally go over them. And recently, if there's a bunch of new cards that come out for a new archetype, if it's small enough, I'll actually go over all the cards. That way you guys can get a more holistic view. Start with the new cards, go over the old ones. Pretty decent overview. Anyways, this is called Xiangjian. Pretty interesting, right? Comes out in Dawn of Majesty. And we'll just see if it's any good or not. I actually have heard really nothing about it. I only know that it exists. So we'll see the first one here, Xinjiang Swordmaster. I feel like that might end up being the name. Do they all have Swordmaster in their name? Interesting. Okay. Anyways, this is a level 4 water worm effect monster. 1700 attack, 1800 defense. You can only use this card's first and second effects each once per turn. This card is normal or special summon. You can reveal one Xinjiang card or one worm monster. I'm trying to think of the name of that archetype now. That's worms. That's pretty horrible of me. I can't think of it off the top of my head. But they're like, it's like normal monster support. Anyways, special summon one Xinjiang token. A level 4 tuner. Okay, that's pretty fascinating. While that token is on the field, you cannot special summon monsters from the extra deck except Synchro monsters. If this card is sent to the graveyard as Synchro material, you can draw one card. Okay, well, I'm pretty sure there's probably some level 8 Synchros you can go straight into. Wow, okay, and I'm sure they actually have those as well. That's a really decent start at one card Synchro summon that draws you a card. Alright, shout out to a decent start to this archetype. So this is like Mo Yi, this is Tai the Xiangjian Swordmaster. Okay. Same stats, level 4 Wind Worm Effect Monster. Wind, water. Okay. So probably going to have different attributes, same type. But same stats, 1800 attack, 1500 defense, which is not the same. I was just completely wrong about that. I'm a liar. You can only use this card's first and second effects each once per turn. You can banish one Xiangjian card or one worm monster from your graveyard. Special summon one Xinjiang token, water, worm, worm, tuner, water, level 4, no stats. Okay, it's also a tuner. While that token is on the field, you cannot special summon monsters from the extra deck except Synchro monsters, which I think is fine, and it's good to have. It's like doesn't restrict you, and like you can only summon Synchro monsters for the rest of the turn. Pretty good. If this card is sent to the graveyard as Synchro material, you can send one Xinjiang card or one worm monster from your deck to the graveyard. I really want to remember the name of that dumb archetype. That isn't good. It's the worm archetype, and I'm going to have to, I'm just going to look it up. Worm archetype Yu-Gi-Oh! It's going to be on here. I know it. It's going to be like towards the top. It has to be. It's the ones that just kind of discard themselves. 10 Ys, okay? This is probably exactly for them. So you can start your plays by special summoning them because you won't have a effect monster on the field. Maybe that's the idea of it. Also, like, it's good to dump those into the graveyard because one of them searches. I'm picking up what they're putting down, if you catch my drift. Okay, glad I got that out of my system because now I can keep that in mind as I go through the rest of these cards. This is Long Yuan, the Xiangjian Tactician. This is a level 6, so we're going up there now. Can't normal summon these off the pop or whatever you want to call them. People say that. 1200 attack, 2300 defense. You can only use this card's first and second effects each once per turn. You can discard one other Xinjiang card or worm monster. Special summon this card from your hand. Then you can special summon one token, a level 4 tuner. Okay, so I guess they all do that. While that token is on the field, can't special summon Synchro monsters. Got it. This card is sent to the graveyard as Synchro material. You can inflict 1200 damage to your opponent. Wow, theoretically, that could end some games. Like, it's actually like a pretty significant amount of burn damage. Okay. Do any of these, if this card is sent to the graveyard as Synchro material? So none of them really like have a good effect being sent to the graveyard. Like, they all need to be Synchro summoned. But I'm sure that can change, and I'm sure 10 Yi, I'm sure those cards would really benefit from that. Okay, moving on. One more card here, and obviously this archetype will end up getting a lot more support at some point. But this is like the initial kind of onslaught. So far I'm impressed. All of them have effects when they're Synchro Summon, and all of them facilitate Synchro Summon plays, which you gotta appreciate. This is Chu Jun, the Xiangjian Auspicious Beast. I'm sure that'll be the same name. Level 6 Earthworm effect monster. 2400 attack, 1800 defense. You can only use this card's name's first and third effects, each once per turn. During the main phase, quick effect. You contribute one monster, special summon this card from your hand. Alright, I don't know why you'd want to do that. Before damage calculation, if your worm monster battles an opponent's special summon monster from the extra deck, you can destroy that opponent's monster and this card. So I guess including itself. If this card is sent to the graveyard to Synchro material, you can target one card on the field or in either graveyard, banish it. I guess it's just like, hey, the battle phase? Well, what about this? Because I'm going to tribute it. And then they would end up getting destroyed. I don't know if that's a good card, to be honest with you. But it is good to target a card on the field and banish it. Targeting's fine. I think it's so overrated. Like, of course, every card you would want to send or something like that. But I feel like there's not a lot of targeting protection right now outside of Dragoon. But that card's just super duper good. Here are these level... Okay, so this is a level 8 Worm Synchro. So obviously... all of these cards, or I should say these two, essentially produce that by themselves. We'll see if it's worth it. This is a Light Worm Synchro, 2800 attack, 1000 defense, 1 tuner plus 1 plus non-tuner worm monsters. Okay, so it's like for the archetypes, not general. You can only use one of this card's name, first or second effects per turn, and only once that turn. If this card is Synchro summoned, you can add to your hand or banish one Xiangjian card from your deck. Okay, so what I'm noticing so far, they have no effects in the graveyard that you would want. So it's like, maybe in the future, if they start doing that, that'd be pretty crazy. Quick effects. You can banish one Xinjiang card or one Were monster from your hand or graveyard, then target one other effect monster on the field, negate its effects until the end of the turn. That's pretty cool, right? Because you can banish one card or one Were monster from your hand or graveyard. Like from the graveyard too, so you're like utilizing your resources and you're negating effects, so you can do it in a response and start negating some effects. Plus it's like a 1 card you can go into this. That's really nice. If I'm reading that right, which I think I am. This is the other Synchro. This is a level 10, although the Flirta whatever card is coming out, that other Synchro is coming out, so this better be pretty good. Although maybe this archetype is meant for this card anyways. We'll see. Level 10 Water Worm Synchro effect. 3000 attack, 3000 defense. That's pretty cool. It's nice to have good defensive stats for whatever reason. And this is general. So this one is not general. And this one's general. Okay. You can only use this name's third effect once per turn. Gains 100 attack and defense for each banished card. Okay, that's pretty interesting. Like the archetype doesn't really seem to be centered too much around that. To a certain extent. Monsters your opponent controls lose 100 attack defense for each banished card. Now that's pretty significant when you think of like Grand Maju. I'm planting the seeds right now for something goofy and weird, but we'll see if I can make the deck work. If this card would be destroyed by card effect, you can banish 1 card from your graveyard instead. Okay? I feel like this is going to be really good with Thunder Dragons. That's what I'm thinking right now. We'll see. If this card becomes banished, imagine, okay, before I move forward, Thunder Dragons, right? Imagine if you have, I think it's called Dimensional or Shifter or Barrier or something, that monsters aren't sent to the graveyard, they're banished instead. What happens if you have this monster on your field and you have like just a regular Thunder Dragon in your hand? Quick effect. Because the third effect, if card becomes banished, you can banish 1 card from your opponent's field and graveyard. We're gonna do something here. Grand Maju, Thunder Dragon, something like that. But I like where my thoughts are going. And I've never done a Thunder Dragon video. This might be the perfect time. Moving on to the spell cards, and I'm sure there's a field spell. No, wow. Surprise, Konami always makes one for new archetypes. Not saying that's a bad thing. This is called the Xiangjian Dragon Sword Appears, normal spell card. You can only use the first and second effects of this card's name each once per turn. Add 1 Xinjian monster from your deck to your hand, or if you control a Synchro monster, you can add 1 Worm monster instead. Alright, that's pretty cool to have the whole type pool available to you. I'm sure people will do pretty interesting things with that. If this card is banished, okay, so now we finally get some use out of putting these in the banish pile. You can target 1 Xinjian or Worm monster you control, increase or decrease its level by 1. That's pretty nuanced, but okay, sure. I mean, why not? If you need it, you need it. And this is another normal spell card. Kind of like this art. It's pretty interesting. This one especially. This looks like very Magic the Gathering to me. You can only use the first and second effects of this card's name each once per turn. Target one Xiangjian monster in your graveyard, special summon it. If you control a Synchro monster, you can target one Worm monster instead. Alright. If this card is banished, you can target one Xinjiang monster or Worm monster you control, increase or decrease its level by 1. So they both have that same effect, huh? Okay. So far it doesn't seem like crazy, because these are like way different, right? Like, that only gets you to level 9. But I think the card pool is probably bigger than I'm thinking. Like, obviously it is, because Synchros are pretty expansive. Alright, this is the normal trap. Xiangjian Research. You can target one face-up monster you control, banish up to 5 Xiangjian cards or Worm monsters from your graveyard, and if you do, that target gains 300 attack for each. That's horrible. Okay, that's just not... It doesn't matter. Oh, well, I guess if you banish, it could trigger the Synchro 10, so that's the play. Ooh, I feel like there's going to be better ways to do that. We'll see, though. If this card is banished, you can special summon one token, level 4 tuner. While this token is on the field, you cannot special summon monsters except Synchros. See, that's a decent effect. It's almost like a one-of to where you can banish it from the deck, because one of these banishes from the deck, right? One of these says you can banish one card from your graveyard. Doesn't one banish straight from the deck? Maybe not. I don't know. Okay, well, I get where they're going with that. I'm not sure if I think that's all that great, though. Xinjiang Sudden Shift, another normal trap. You can only use the first and second effects once per turn. First effect, target one Worm monster you control and 2 cards your opponent controls, destroy them. I feel like this card already exists somewhere. Maybe not, obviously. Oh, and then, wow, that's actually... See, that's good, because you can target the Synchro 10. It will not be destroyed. You can banish a card, get a bunch of effect. Okay. Yeah, that's pretty gasoline, I gotta say. Because you're destroying 2 cards and banishing. Sheesh. If this card is banished, you can special summon a token. Okay, so they all have that. Everything in the deck is very accessible, meaning that it doesn't really matter that you can do it from the deck, because I thought you should be able to, because all of them essentially have that effect where it summons a token, plus the main deck monsters by themselves also do that. I'm impressed. I think this is a really good kind of start to an archetype. Obviously has a long way to go, but I mean, there's no way to search any of these just quite yet, but that'll come along as time does. So keep an eye on this one, and maybe like when this set comes out, pick up as many of these cards as you can. I could especially see this last card, the Sudden Shift, whatever ends up being called, boosting up in price if the archetype becomes good, because that's like kind of the key to all of it. Potentially 3 disruptions with 1 trap card. Trap cards are inherently harder to stop, even if they are slower. So cool beans there. Let me know what you guys think about this archetype in the comment section down below. Other than that, that's going to do it for today's video, and I'll see you guys next time.